Welcome to the weekend show. Today we have a treat for you. We're going to show you how to make a wooden doormat that will add elegance and interest to your entryway. So if this is your first time in our channel, welcome. If you have been here before but you have not subscribed, please subscribe. If it is your birthday, happy birthday. On weekends we always have a build of some form or an extensive car repair, and on Wednesdays we usually have tips and tricks and miscellaneous type of videos. But without further ado, let's get going with today's project. So we started by cutting 2x2's at a universal length, and this will create the base of our doormat. And we're in this stage. You can do that either by using a bandsaw or by using a table saw, or even a reciprocating saw. Really, any saw can achieve that. Even my favorite Japanese saw. You have to talk. You know, waving your head, they cannot hear you and they cannot see you, so...
And just so you know, you can't wave one's head.
Just moving your head. Smart butt. My God. I'm going to spank you. Okay?
Are you done talking?
Do you want to say anything else?
I don't want to. No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
You were just fine.
Alright, let's go on with the build. So in each piece of wood we need to make 2 holes, and we want them to be approximately, or as exactly as we possibly can, on the same distance from the end, right? So we fashion a very simple jig here on the drill press, and by setting the piece there and then aligning it with the end, we are going to be at the same distance for every piece in either side. Anything you want to add?
Nope.
Is that aligned? A very nice, clean and totally perfectly straight hole. So we're going to do the same here on the other side. And we will repeat the same process for all the pieces. Okay? So we finished making the holes in all of the pieces, and our little jig worked actually quite well. Can you even see me? The holes align perfectly. And this process of course generates a lot of sawdust. This makes it by far easier than using a handheld drill. Even though you could do it with a handheld drill, the design is a little forgiving, but you cannot be completely off. And if you decide that the width of your mat is longer, you probably have to make a middle one too. Wouldn't you agree? But for our width, 2 is enough. So, did you miss that? So you see how easy the jig moved, and that's all the glue it took. It did not fall apart at all during our process, and we did how many?
14.
And we did 14, so we did drill a total of 28 holes, and this kind of making temporary jigs is something that I really like, because if I was to make a jig for every process we do, I would have 1,000 jigs. So the hot glue is your friend in the saw. I'm glad we had this little machine. It made, even though this was somewhat repetitive, wouldn't you agree? Use your words. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yes. It made quick work of it. I don't think it took us more than 5 minutes or so to make the 28 holes. So we're going to clean up a little bit and then move to the next step. Alright friends, the reason why we vacuumed the belt is because usually we sand very soft wood that leaves really extra small particles, and we have decided to start wearing masks now because it is a good idea. These fine particles can get into your lungs and long term can cause very serious health effects. We're going to try something new today. We're going to try to have the vacuum here. We have noticed that most of the dust comes out of this direction. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say? Why are you being difficult? Just speak. That is not funny. We're trying to make a video here. People need to talk. They need to hear you talk. Anyway, so this, we're going to show you how we did one, how we do one. The rest of it will be identical, so we're not going to do all of them, right? And because of the vacuum and this is fairly loud, it will be fairly loud. How do I look? Marvelous, right? I don't have anything already.
Let's turn on the vacuum.
Ready? I find you have to be like this. It goes straight in, it's fine, you need to see it. And now we're going to do this to him, that it is not done yet, okay? So do what we need to do, this one, right? Good. Alright friends, we are going to do the rest of them off camera again. This is a very repetitive and boring process, but it goes exactly the way we showed you, so no need to subject you to 10 minutes or 15 minutes of doing this. So we will be back when all the sanding is done. Just a quick reminder about safety, folks. Somehow I injured myself, even though we're not doing anything extremely dangerous. I'm not sure how I did that, but I will go and take care of this now, and then we will continue with the filming and the finishing of the project. We'll turn it off and then I'll turn it off, yeah. And, alright folks, all the safety gear. We're actually quite pleased with the way this dust collection works, but I'm thinking I'm going to fashion some way of having that stationary, so even if one of us is by themselves working on it, it can still work, because now one of us had to hold it and the other had to do it. But if you remember the belt when we started and how little additional dirt has accumulated, is a testament to how well this thing works. Wouldn't you agree? No, speak. I mean, that looks like a lot of dirt, but comparatively, not dirt, sawdust, but comparatively to what we've experienced in the past, this is really minimal. So I'm very pleased with that, and I will probably work again on find a way to... Actually, I could see it. I don't know if you could see it, but I could see the dust going through the...
Wasn't paying attention to that.
You weren't paying attention?
No, I was paying attention to the piece of wood that I had there.
I see. This is almost perfectly made for this, isn't it?
Almost, except for the part where it would totally, you know, eat it up if you put it that close.
Well, I wouldn't put it that close. Anyway, so we finished all our pieces of wood and she took them away, so I don't know where they are.
They're right over here.
So just as a reminder, in all of the pieces, of course, we did the 2 holes, and the piece is going to sit like that. We left the bottom part of the piece flat, so it will have a very nice, steady contact with the ground. But on the top, we actually beveled the 2 sides, so even if you're barefooted, you're not going to get a sharp edge, and also we feel it's going to look better. Are you going to talk if I say, do you agree? Okay, she's not going to talk today. I think she took a comment one of our viewers took to heart, and she refuses to talk now. Start talking. I will take your name off the marquee.
I did talk.
Rarely this episode. So the next step will be to finish them. And again, we're going to show you a little bit of that, but it will be a repetitive process. But we're going to show you a little bit. The important thing is these pieces have to be approximately the same length. If you're, you know, 1/8 of the inch off or something, it's not going to be visible. Keep in mind that will be on your feet. You're not going to be able to see it much.
It'll be on the ground, not on your feet.
Right, your feet will be on this.
Right.
Right. She can talk. She's cured. It's a miracle. And folks, I did work on my wound here. And the reason I put a band-aid is because we're working in a very dusty environment, and even the smallest of wounds can really introduce infection to your body. So when you get injured, and frankly I have no idea how I was injured, but it will be a good clickbait, that picture, you know, and I almost lost my hand. I have no idea what I did, but it is a reasonable cut. I somehow suffered, and I don't know how, but it is always best to stop what you're doing and take care of your injury and then continue. It will keep you healthy on the long term. And as you notice on this episode, Peter and I decided to start taking more steps to protect our lungs and our eyes. In some episodes we cannot do that, but today we were generating enough contaminants in the air that it made sense. So next step is finishing. So stick with us to see how we're going to do that. That's pretty. Now this is a project that you probably have to stain it every year or so, because it is an outdoors item. I don't like to use pressure treated wood because of the chemicals, and really for most projects even non-treated wood will last quite a long time. Are you doubling up now?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to finish that and we're going to show them to you when we are completely done. Again, the process is very repetitive, and Elpida always likes to use, not always, but most of the time prefers to use a rag versus a brush to apply stain. So we'll go ahead and finish this process and we'll be right with you. So all our plugs are finished stained and we are ready to commence the next steps. They turn out really beautiful. I really like the look of this.
So we just took the rope and took a really long length of it, basically taped to the ends, taped the middle part, and then cut that in half at the middle just so the ends wouldn't fray. And now we're going to start stringing them through and making the knots.
What?
And because we'll need to cut this tape off, I'm leaving just a little bit on the end, so we'll be able to cut that off and still finish. And this probably seems like a lot of rope, but we wanted to make sure that we had plenty of room to make all the knots in between the boards.
The knots use more rope than
You might think.
Than you might realize initially. Now do the other side before you do the third loop. Doing both sides will make the project easier, because if you make one side up, it will be tight to do the second. Now again, we're not going to show you this whole process because it doesn't make sense to do that. It takes
And don't forget to make your knots in between.
Now that's a little important. And for us the biggest expense here was the rope.
Right.
Because we use material we already had, like we usually do. Now the first and last piece, just make sure that they're good looking pieces, because they're the only two pieces that the sides are going to be visible. The bottoms of course are not visible and the tops are visible, so when you select your wood and how you place it, we didn't show you our dry fitting, but that's in essence what you need to do. You need to place them so you have the right boards the way you want them to look as the most visible boards. So we're going to stop recording now and we're going to get to you when we're done.
Let me pull this through and then they can see how the knots are going to line up. So all the boards are going to line up like that with the knots.
Right.
All the way through to the other end. And then as I said, we're going to cut off the part that has the tape on it and burn those so that they'll stay.
Alright friends, our project is complete. We had to work until late night, primarily because we had to stain it and we had to wait. It is definitely a project that you can do in an afternoon or so, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, just about.
And you can make it bigger than we did, you can make it wider, you can make it longer, depending on your needs and the size of your entry, sorry, the thing distracts me. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. If you didn't, the other button works as well. Please share our video, subscribe if you have not done so yet, and join us again on Wednesday for tips and tricks, and next Sunday for another build. I hope you enjoy your week, and we're going to see you soon. From the Garage Woodworker, and have a great week.